Hey, you know what, Chris? Spring is in the air, and you know what that means?
Baseball.
Yes, but no. Football.
Oh, yeah.
College football teams are starting spring practices, and they may be under some new rules.
Really?
Pro football, too. We're going to talk about that and more next on the Sports Report. Well, it's been a couple of weeks because of the Mardi Gras holiday, but we're back.
Yeah, we are.
Chris, good to see you. How was your Mardi Gras?
It was awesome. A little cold, but it was awesome. How was yours?
It was great. And the college football over the last couple of months, as well as the NFL football, has really looked at the possibility of changing some of the rules of their game. Let's start in the NFL, where before they were thinking about getting rid of the extra point, now they're thinking about, let's push it back to make it a 42-yard extra point try.
How far is it regularly?
Well, if they're marked at the 3-yard line, it's about a 20-yard shot.
Why not just mark? Okay, so making it a 42-yard attempt, that would put it at what, the 15-yard line?
No, that would make it at the 25. They'll push it back from the 3 to the 25 as the line of scrimmage.
That's ridiculous, because then, okay, I think that puts too much emphasis on the kicker in a big situation then. I mean, people want to mock a kicker if he misses a field goal from 50 yards, that loses the game. And people think an extra point is way too routine.
Okay.
So back the line of scrimmage up to the 15-yard line, because then that way, not everybody's Adam Vinatieri in clutch. I'll tell you that much. So if you're trying to kick a 42-yard extra point, hell, dude. I mean, even for your average kicker, that'd be tough.
I don't understand what Roger Goodell, the commissioner of the NFL, is
He wants to
trying
make the
do.
league a 7-on-7 league. Is what he wants.
That's what it looks like. Let's not play any defense. Another thing that the NFL is looking into is assessing a 15-yard penalty for foul language being used on the football field. Is this too much of a police thing now?
I mean, it's like you're going from flag football league to Pop Warner league. I mean, are we trying to teach our players, hey, don't curse? That's stupid.
Now, we're not talking about everyday words that you and I use, but it's words that we obviously can't say on our show.
Yeah, there are way too many bleepity bleeps.
If you're dropping an F-bomb or you're using the N-word on a fairly consistent basis, I think that's what the league is looking into. How are they going to police this, Chris?
I don't know. I mean, I can't see Ed Hockley in every huddle going, all right, guys, no foul language.
Can you imagine this? What would they call it? What's going to be the hand signal for it? Too much this? Excessive language?
Excessive diarrhea of the mouth, 15 yards, defense. I don't know. What are you going to call it?
What do you
can't call it unsportsmanlike.
Oh, I mean, I think that's what they'll end up calling it, is unsportsmanlike conduct, but it's language like that is used on the field every day.
Exactly.
In every game and every week. I don't see how it's been a problem all of a sudden until now.
I don't either. I mean, I don't see how... I don't have anything to say.
You're perplexed.
I'm very perplexed. It's just kind of like, it's like somebody walking up to you in the middle of a heated competition. You got your adrenaline going, your testosterone's going, and somebody's going to say, like, man, what the F, man? And you're going to be like, whoa, stop.
And then out comes the flag.
And then out comes the flag. That's just ridiculous. It's trying to police the game too much. You can't just let these guys play.
Unfair?
Very.
Okay.
I mean, it's ridiculous. It's like
let's go to the college game.
freedom of speech, man.
Let's go to the college game.
Ooh, our domain.
Our domain. One thing that they just had their rules committee meetings, their competition committee meetings, I think they just wrapped up. One thing that did pass, which you and we talked all week leading into this program. One thing that they did pass, which you and I agree on, is the fact that if they reverse the targeting, they're going to reverse the penalty.
Yes, I like that. Because it was confusing to me when they would call it. I mean, there weren't that many targeting penalties called throughout the course of last season, which was good to see.
Right.
But it was funny because if you they'd call it, they'd throw the flag for it, they'd review it and say, no, it's not targeting, but it's still a 15-yard unnecessary roughness penalty. Like, that made no sense. I mean, although the original rule, the way it was written, I like the fact that they at least reviewed it to be like, if it looked bad, they looked at it against, okay, it wasn't all that vicious, the guy can still come play. I mean, I like that part of the rule.
Right. Speaking of review, you and I talked excessively on how, in our opinion, instant replay can be changed in college football. Now, keep in mind, we don't have any knowledge to our knowledge that they were talking about this, but how can instant replay be changed in college football? Because you and I, we feel that they use replay a little bit too much and it just elongates the game.
They do. Like, if it's a 15-yard completion on second down with 10 minutes to go in the second quarter and it looks questionable, don't review it. Just make a call, whether it was a catch or it wasn't. Now, in my opinion, you talked about this too, they need to streamline the process. Because in college, you don't know how a coach is called. You don't know if he has to call a timeout and then be like, hey, ref, I want you to look at that play again. Or if it's another type of thing, they need to make it like the NFL. Give the coaches something they can throw on the field to get the ref's attention. Say, hey, ref, can we look at that last play again? Because that was crap. And then have them look at it. And I don't trust the eyes in the booth talking down to the guy on the field. The guy on the field needs to look at the play itself.
So you're in agreement with me and probably a lot of college football fans everywhere, where the referee on the field needs to have a monitor.
Absolutely. I mean, the ref needs to know what he's looking at. If he's trusting the judgment of somebody upstairs, I mean, they could be interpreted in something two completely different ways. And if they're not going to give him a monitor, at least in the case of, say, Tiger Stadium, where you have that gorgeous giant monitor now, or Jumbotron, show the play again on that so the ref can at least look up at that while he's hearing the guy upstairs.
Now, another rule that got tabled, thank God for this one, is the 10-second defensive substitution rule.
The Saban rule.
The Saban rule. He said that, and I can't believe he's saying this, it's a medical issue. To where you're trying to, that defenses should be able to substitute while an offense is against no-huddle teams.
Shades of Brett Bielema?
Maybe, but Brett Bielema was in agreement with Saban. I don't know. The way I understand the rule was that defenses will have the opportunity, or would have the opportunity, to substitute within the first 10 seconds of the play clock, thus slowing down teams like Oregon, Ole Miss, Florida State, Oklahoma State,
Baylor.
teams that run no-huddle spread offenses. This, to me, absolutely not fair.
I think it's unfair because you have some teams that, like Oregon, they don't recruit the big, strong, huge, tough guys.
They recruit for speed.
Yeah, exactly right. They recruit for speed because they can't match pound for pound, say, the guys on the offensive line of Ole Miss or Alabama or LSU or any guys in the SEC. So they have to recruit to go around those guys. So you're going to penalize a team for trying to go a way that befits them by benefiting the older, slower, stronger guys. I think it's a weird reach to me, it seems like, to keep the game of college football more traditional and pro style and all that kind of thing, instead of just letting teams go and do what they want and lend to the diversity of the game.
To me, I think it's more of a conditioning issue. More teams, about half of college football, give or take a few teams, are running these no-huddle, spread offenses to gain an advantage because teams like that may not be able to recruit 300-pound offensive linemen that can, dominate the line of scrimmage in a power run game.
Right.
Ole Miss certainly can't get, and I'm using the Ole Miss example because I've seen it firsthand. They're not able to recruit the big 300 to 350-pound offensive linemen to use in a power running game, so they have to be more of a finesse offense. This is their finesse offense. It's worked for them 2 straight years with bowl games. They've increased their win total every year because they're starting to get more accustomed to this style of offense. When you slow them down, when you slow teams like that down, the consistency at which they're running the play, it starts to break it up, and they're not able to gain any sort of rhythm. This rule would do that, and thank God that this rule got tabled, because it would have created a lot of controversy.
Absolutely. I mean, the first thing that comes to your mind is, say you're trying to run a 2-minute drill and you're down, and you're a spread offense team, and you're down by, say, a touchdown or 3 points.
With no timeouts.
With no timeouts left, and you're trying to run your 2-minute offense, and you're going to give 10 seconds every play to the defense because they need to sub.
Now, keep in mind, the clock stops on every first down,
Only until the change is said.
Right, and then the clock runs again.
Exactly.
And what if a defensive team purposely takes their time to get their substitutions on the field? And then the part of the rule that gets me is that if a team runs the play while the defense is still substituting, it's a delay a game on the offense.
See, it's all an attempt to try and slow the game down for some unknown reason. When the funny thing is, the popular consensus among fans and everybody, they like the faster, more points per game style.
Absolutely.
Maybe not so much everybody in the SEC because we're used to power football, that kind of thing.
But I think the SEC is starting to take a turn with more of these finesse offenses because it works.
They're trying to. I mean, honestly, I don't think you. I mean, in the case of Ole Miss, in the case of who else runs that finesse offense? Auburn kind of does a little bit. I mean,
it got them to a national championship game.
It did, but when you also think about it too, you can't. I believe there's only so far that finesse offense can take you. I mean, look at Oregon, pure example.
Right.
They have not played for a national champion. They played for one national championship, and of course they got beat by a stronger finesse offense that year.
Two finesse offenses.
Yeah, and I mean,
defense prevailed in that game. Go figure.
Yeah, no one saw that coming. But I mean, I feel like the spread offense has a place in college football, but it's a limited place.
Right. Real quickly, give me a rule that you want to see changed in football.
I would just like the college football replay to get looked at and retooled. I mean, it's so convoluted, and the fans have no idea what's going on, why the play stopped, why are we standing around for 20 seconds doing nothing, and okay, it was a replay. Call it timeout to do that?
Right.
It's one of those things. Too many questions involved the way it is now.
Very, very questionable.
What about
Are there any, I kind of like to see some of these rules get curbed to more of an NFL style. I'd like to see on a reception on the sideline, get 2 feet in.
Yeah, maybe.
That's just me. There's many other rules, and it will take forever and a day to go through.
Yeah, well.
This has been another episode. I think it was a really good topic. And again, Matt Mosley from Georgia, my buddy, gave us this topic.
Thanks, Matt.
Matt's helping us out from far away. For the Sports Report, he's Chris. I'm Paul, and we'll see you next week.